Winter is coming late here to Goldshaw Farm, but I still don't think I'm ready for it, and I'm worried I'm gonna screw up big time. Today's video is sponsored by the Ridge Wallet. Hey, Mr. Toby Dog. How's it going, pal? How are you doing this morning? Good morning, buddy. Good to see you. Let me get the chores going and I'll explain what's going on, guys, because yeah, we could have some problems here at Goldshaw Farm. Good morning, weird chickens. Hey, Penny. How's it going, you weirdo? Ron Swanson, what are you up to? You're hanging out in the chicken yard. And out come the chickens. You know, it's starting to be like a dang clown car in there. So many of you piling out. We're gonna have to thin your numbers very soon. And then we've got our final group of chickens, which have dwindled in number because they've all joined the other flock. All that we have left are General Washington and a few of his most loyal followers. Kind of feels just a little bit sad, you know? General Washington used to run the biggest flock here on the farm. Oh, would you look at that? It's the baby Silkies. It's the whole Silky family wandering out and about. Then they have Barbara, the Crevecoeur, who kind of looks like one of them. Yeah, everybody's growing up pretty good. Penny the rooster, who you see trying to mate with Rosie right there. I need to find a home for him. So if you're interested in Penny, shoot me a note. I've had a couple people be interested, but they're like all across the country. I need somebody kind of local. But I'm looking for a new home for him. And this rooster too, I don't know. He's the oddball, but he's like a, I don't know what he is. Definitely half Rhode Island Red, definitely the son of General Washington. No doubt about it, not Penny's son. Yeah, do you see this monstrosity right here? This is actually one of the things I need to talk to you about. Goldshaw Farm this winter could be a cluster of epic proportions, so I don't know, it's getting a little scary. Release the Kraken! Carmen, you still think you're a duck, huh, girl? Yeah, the ducks are doing good. I've actually been selling off a few of our ducks. I don't know if you guys remember, but Quacky Chan was one of the ducks who we hatched out here on the farm last year. And he was actually supposed to be culled, but just as I was about to actually end his life, he jumped out and escaped my clutches, ran halfway across the farm, through that gate, and ended up back here with his flock. And so because of his heroic efforts there, he earned the name Quacky Chan, and he also earned a stay of execution. And so we let him spend the past year here on the farm. I still know I'm gonna have too many drakes for winter, and so we sold him to a nice family just over the river in New Hampshire. And yeah, I think he's got a nice home. He went with a couple of our Khaki Campbell females, so it's gonna be a very good situation for him. Pablo Barn Cat, how are you doing, buddy? Huh? I know why you're waiting up here. You're not trying to just hang out in your condo. You're trying to get some food for Mr. Toby Dog, but Mr. Toby Dog, I'll feed you in a couple minutes. So I've had a lot of ambitious projects here on the farm this year. Some of them I've achieved, some of them I have not achieved. You know, we wanted to get cattle, we got cattle. We wanted to fix up our barn so we could overwinter cattle. We fixed up our barn so we could overwinter cattle. We wanted to get a puppy to partner with Toby Dog. Well, we've done that and we built them a nice little house. But one of the other ambitious projects I had on my list this year was I wanted to try to find a way to create a new, better winter house for my geese. You see, they used to live in that shed last year and it was okay. It provided enough shelter for them, but the downside was it didn't provide like a good nesting area. So when they were laying eggs, it turned into chaos. And so I had this idea to build a gigantic 100-foot by 20-foot hoop house that I could use to house all of my chickens and geese over the winter. Now, typically when somebody wants to build a hoop house like that, what they're gonna do is you can go online and you can buy a kit and you can assemble that kit and, you know, throw it up. But when you guys wonder about like sponsorships like the Ridge Wallet and why I take them, a big part of it is actually to pay for projects like that. Plus, it's also an awesome wallet. I mean, seriously, I've been carrying this thing around nonstop now for a couple of months, and I can't believe I went this long without getting it. It has space for all of your cards. It's beautifully minimalist. It has like a nice little money clip, or you can get like a little money strap if you want. And so if you're looking for a gift for anybody in your life who likes to carry a wallet, but currently they're looking more and more like George Costanza.
You got more cow here than here.
I strongly recommend the Ridge Wallet. And right now the Ridge Wallet is offering a special offer to Goldshaw Farm viewers. So if you want to take advantage of that and use the offer code, just click down below. And thank you to the Ridge Wallet, because I think I'm gonna need a little bit of extra money here, because my wallet is getting thin given the current state of our hoop house project. You see, like I said, you can ordinarily order a hoop house online and they'll deliver the kit and then you have to assemble the kit yourself. But my buddy Alfred,
he lives on down the road. He's a wizard with machines, a genius in blue jeans. Let's stop and say hello. My buddy Alfred, Vermont's best so-and-so. Bricklaying engineer, surgeon, driving heavy gear. Ain't nothing he don't know.
you guys remember my buddy Alfred, right? He had this really brilliant idea. Even though he was originally a brick mason, he's actually gone back to school and studying engineering, and he has a really great mechanical mind. And what he was thinking is, you know that steel tubing that they use for like a traditional chain link fence? You can get that stuff really cheap and it's readily available, and they sell it in 20-foot lengths. So what he wanted to do is actually create this little machine known as a ring roller that would bend the steel pipes into the shape that I needed for the hoop. And that would become the structure. His thinking was, you know, somebody like me could really benefit from a machine like that, because there's all sorts of things I could do if I could bend steel pipe like that. You know, in terms of like making chutes for the cattle, or feeders for the cattle, or building structures. You know, like one of the things I've been thinking about is building like a raised deer blind structure up on the top of the pasture. After talking and dreaming a little bit with Alfred, I decided to bite the bullet and fund the construction of this machine, as well as purchase a couple tons of steel tubing that I could use to build the structure. And so our plan was, you know, in August or September, we'd start work and really try to build this thing out. And it all started great. Alfred came in with his excavator. He graded the entire site so that it was nice and level. He also put in some swales that you can see right down through there for good drainage. So if water came off the structure, it could run down here and then run into the stream that we have over there. And then from there, Alfred and I took a whole bunch of the steel tubes and we cut them to about 4-foot lengths. In the span of one afternoon, we were able to take the steel tubes and drive them 4 feet into the ground. I mean, it was pretty incredible. You can see them right here. They are deep into that ground, and that galvanized steel is going to be good in there for, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years. And we did basically 1 point every 4 feet, going an entire 100-foot length. Look at this dog. How are you doing, kid? Are you dead? What happened? I think my dog broke. Does anybody know what to do about this? Toby dog, come here. Good to see you, buddy. Aw. As soon as you hit his reset switch, look what happens. He gets the zoomies. Toby dog, settle, sit. Hey, Toby, sit. Behave, come on, settle down. There you go. Yeah, life is good. Sorry, a little dog distraction. So once we got the support structures into the ground, we're pretty much good to go in terms of bending the posts, or bending the tubes, I should say, and putting them into the earth. And the idea would be, you would take 2 20-foot lengths and wrap them across. And so you'd have 40 feet of tubing. There'd be about a 4-foot high kind of rise to it. Then the bend would begin, and then it would go to the other side. And that's where this story takes a little bit of a turn. You see, Alfred built the machine and it looked awesome. And when we first got it out here, we tried it and we were noticing a couple little problems. Like, for example, for starters, we wanted to power it by using the hand drill, but what we realized is very soon that the hand drill didn't have enough, you know, push to really bend the steel appropriately. But when you meet obstacles like that, that's where my buddy Alfred is absolutely brilliant. And what he ended up designing was a hydraulic motor where he repurposed it from an old sander. And that hydraulic motor could connect into the hydraulics on my tractor. And so what we could do is easily turn and bend the pipe using the power of the tractor. Alfred also welded together a nice little platform that could sit on my pallet forks, because the other dilemma we had is, because we were bending 20-foot lengths of tube, it was going to really require us to have a certain measure of height, or else the tube would bend and just drive itself into the ground. Now, the first couple tests that we did, worked okay, but needed some refinement. But eventually, we got to a point where we started to bend the tubes absolutely perfectly. And you can actually see two of the perfectly bent tubes right here, where it has kind of the 4 feet or so that I wanted to be like the straight end, so that we have some height on before the curve starts to happen. And then you have this perfect curve that when you do this 2 times over could connect, you know, 2 20-foot lengths of pipe 20 feet apart. The problem is bending that much steel and turning it generates a whole heck of a lot of force, and that force was creating a lot of problems within the machinery of the ring roller. You know, the chain was catching, the gears and sprockets were starting to strip, and so for the last, gosh, I don't know, I think we've been out here 3 weekends in a row, we've been trying to get this machine to work.
I think what I can do is shim this thing out a little bit, because what's happening, like, all the tension is built up here, and on whatever side, you know, the thing's pulling. So the only place where slack can build is between, you know, the driven sprocket and the driving sprocket. We're only getting another like 3 or 4 teeth are contacting the chain because like the slack is building up on one half of that driving sprocket there. So yeah, I mean, I can see we've already sheared off a few teeth, which isn't good. Oh yeah, that tooth is gone altogether. Oh boy. Oh boy, Morgan.
You see, I was planning on carrying a lot more geese into the winter this year than I did last year, but I think I might need to butcher some extra ones, because unless I can get this hoop house done, I'm not gonna have enough space to fit them all into that one goose house. And that to me is a huge, huge dilemma, and I'm struggling with solutions. Like just yesterday, I went to the local building supply store and bought some PVC pipe, and I was toying with the idea of maybe doing a temporary 1-year structure made out of PVC instead of this super strong steel, and thinking that, well, maybe it could hold up for one Vermont winter, but I know that that is completely ridiculous. We thought about maybe cutting it and making a different type of roof, like maybe like an A-frame structure, but Alfred has convinced me that structurally speaking, that probably wouldn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. I've toyed with the idea of going out and just buying a hoop house kit and trying to bring it back here, but as I've gone out and gotten quotes over the last couple of days, what I've found is, given the great supply chain shortages of 2021, there's no way I'm getting anything here well before, say, March, that meets the specifications that I have for the building. And so really what it comes down to is I need to have a little bit of faith. Yeah, winter is getting very, very near. And yes, we got like a stay of execution. We got very lucky that it hasn't even struck yet already. You know, I can look back on previous YouTube videos that were shot at this same time of year in previous years, and we already had a foot or 2 of snow on the ground. My thinking is this: Alfred and I are going to make one last attempt to try to bend this pipe and see if we can get the ring roller to work properly and work over the course of bending about 100 steel tubes. And if we can do that, I think we're gonna be in great shape, because I can easily just slap together some end walls for this thing and get some hay down for bedding and have it set in a way that, while it might not be exactly what I wanted to do this year, it'll work just fine for winter for the chickens and for the geese. And I'm looking at other plan Bs and Cs. I guess the worst case plan C I'd have to execute upon is I will have to butcher more geese than I would have wanted to, and, you know, sell those birds for meat instead of trying to hang on to them as breeding stock, which would be very unfortunate, but might be the reality I'm faced with. You know, I know there's gonna be some negative Nellies in the comments saying, you should have always just gone with the kit, and you shouldn't have trusted your friend, and you shouldn't have done this, and look at what this got you into. And I appreciate that perspective, but I disagree with it, because the way I see it, you know, sometimes in life you need to take some chances, you need to take some risks. Innovation new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. They don't come from necessarily doing the safe and simple route. And yes, sometimes that means that your plans are gonna blow up in your face and you're gonna be dealing with a whole pile of unbent steel and birds that need to be culled. But other times that can lead to magical things. And I'm a person who likes to have that faith and likes to have that belief. And so I'm sticking with this one. We're gonna see where it goes. But yes, right now there's a strong chance I might not be ready for winter. So just the other day, we took out the honey supers here and are getting ready to put our bees to bed for winter. They're still a little bit active. You can see a bee or two kind of coming and going. I'm really worried about the hive. When I did the last check-in on them, they were not seeming as healthy as possible. I'm leaving them some supplements and some things. And I'm actually gonna build a little cover for them to put on top of this in the next couple of days. Just as the temps start to drop, they do okay. I mean, like right now, I mean, it's only, I don't know, 40 degrees or so, so it's still not that cold, but pretty soon it will be. Because as they say, winter is coming.
And winter is coming.
Come on, Toby Duck. But while we're out here, let's go check in on the Clan McLeod because I have to do our daily pasture move. I think the last update I gave you, I had the cattle in here for almost a week. They've eaten pretty much everything down. It's not like overgrazed or anything, but they've definitely done a nice job of going through here and eating a lot of the grasses, leaving a lot of manure. And so I was pretty successfully able to move them up into this paddock without any drama whatsoever. And they've been in here for, I don't know, I moved them out here, it was about 5 o'clock when they got to move. Hey everybody. As you can tell, they've become much more sociable and friendly with me. Hey Audrey, you want some? Here you go. When they first got in here last night, they were devouring this stuff. Like, it's actually pretty incredible. I'm looking around to see if I need to move them yet or not. You know, I mean, this is a relatively small area. This is, I don't know, smaller than the footprint of our house. But there's only 5 relatively small animals, so it shouldn't be too bad. What's up there, Kurt? You want some? There you go. Yeah, he's starting to take from my hand. Hey, Ariel, you want some? You're not gonna take from my hand. You're still a little too shy. Audrey, you're the boss. I know. Here, that's for Ariel. Audrey, you already got one. Anna Green Gables. I actually, you know, I think I've mentioned our pecking order in different videos. I'm actually starting to think that Anna Green Gables in the back there, she's the smallest. She's the lowest on the totem pole. Can you take it from my hand again? Oh. Cow slobber. Come on, Ann. You get some alfalfa love too. So we had our large animal vet come out here the other day to check on the cattle. Because I don't have a chute or like a head gate or anything to kind of restrain the cattle with. Can I pet you? Boop you on the nose? There you go. Enjoy. So because I don't have a proper restraint for the cattle, she wasn't able to do a ultrasound on the females. But overall, she thought my plans for how I'm keeping them and what I'm doing with them are good. Part of why I wanted her to come out is just to establish a relationship with a large animal vet so that the first time she comes out here isn't the first time she's ever seeing the animals at the farm or meeting me. The one thing she did recommend was that I switch my minerals. So I was using kind of like a general cattle mineral. And instead I've switched to this selenium block that you see down here. Apparently beef cattle, particularly beef cattle in our area, usually have a selenium deficiency. And so that's why she recommended this one. And so that's what I'm giving them. As far as the cattle go in their winter situation, I've got like a couple of finishing touches that I have to do with the cattle winter area, including installing their waterer. But other than that, they're in pretty good shape. Yeah, they seem to be enjoying it. Cattle also become super comfortable with Toby Dog, so that's good. Oh, as soon as you guys see me giving out cookies, you want some. Toby, back off. All right, Toby, you want your cookie too? There you go. I can't believe it. Kurt is taking the biscuits right from my hand today. There you go. I always thought you're supposed to put it out flat, but he uses his tongue to like grab, so I don't know. So I was thinking about moving them today, but as I'm looking at how much grass there is left, I'll probably give them at least the morning in here. This should be a pretty easy operation when I have to move them later today, because all I'll do is open up probably this strand right over here and let them go through. I'll probably even leave their water exactly where it is, and I'll just move that line so that it just sort of juts out just a little bit. I think I bought too big a watering tank for them for the summer months. I need to have something probably that's more lightweight and probably more mobile friendly so that I can easily move it around from day to day. But, you know, that's part of why I was trying to do this right now, is so I can learn some of these lessons and figure out what works and what doesn't. Hey, you big grass puppy, what are you doing? You want more? Okay, you knocked it on the ground, I didn't. You can see some of our old mulch piles for mulching trees over here. You can see, too, as the cattle have abandoned this area, the poultry have taken it over big time. Which is exactly what I want to have happen. They're picking through the poop, eating fly larvae, spreading the manure around. That's why it's so important to have birds with your cattle. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I'm hoping I'm gonna be ready for winter here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be ready for winter, but I guess hanging out here with the cattle is a lot less stressful than worrying about the goose house over there. So I'll spend some more time. Kurt, golly, man. You're strong, bud. Should have trained you as an ox.